Alright guys, today we're going to learn how to put new shock absorbers on your 1986 Z31 300ZX. Alright, so the first thing that you're going to have to do is, it just makes it easier, but you're going to probably want to strip all the stuff out of the back. Mine's the 2+2, so I had to take the back seats off, fold them down in order to get these covers off. So I already did that one, so I'm going to go ahead and show you guys on this one. So the first thing is that there are two screws there and there that you're going to want to take out. I've already done that. And then there are two bolts right on top there and there that you're going to want to take out. So go ahead and do those. Alright, now that we've got those two 10mm bolts on top and those Phillips heads on the bottom, go ahead and remove the speaker. That's just 3 more Phillips head bolts. And then once that's done, just go ahead and remove the speaker clip. Alright, now that that's done, we're going to go ahead and pry this entire plastic cover up. As you can see on this one right here, the plastic cover just comes up, and it makes it a lot easier to get to the bolts underneath. So if you need, you can take off the back seat. If you have the 2+2, just undo those 2 bolts and slide it to the side. I'm not sure about the non-2+2s, but we just need to pry this entire cover thing up at least enough for us to be able to get under there with a wrench. One thing I forgot to tell you guys, you're going to have to go ahead and remove this latch for the 2+2s that holds the back seats. For this one over here, really what I just had to do, I had to just cut away at it because the bolts were too small for the little holes that were provided. So, and it's just going to be covered up by the seats, so I'm not too big of a worry about that. But they are like this, where they have Phillips and bolt in the middle. So if you really want to try and use Phillips and get them out, you can, but I just used a bolt driver. That way I could get it without stripping them. You guys can go ahead and try either way, whatever you want. Alright, so here we go. There, you can see there's mine. I had to cut it again. But now it's nice and loose, so it'll come up with the plastic finish. And really just got to pry it out along this leather part here and along that top windowsill. It doesn't need to come all the way out. It just needs to flip up. That way you can get to the bolts from the side and just have a bigger place to be able to get them from. Alright, got mine up. As you can see, I had to remove my back seats, but they were due for cleaning anyway. So now we can get to the bolts right there. Perfectly easy. That way we won't strip any of them. I tried going through the top on this one. It just didn't work. This is pretty much the only way you have to do it. Alright, now let's get, those are 14mm bolts, so we'll go ahead and grab a wrench and start trying to get them off. Alright, so if we start doing those bolts, and I made a mistake on the other side, it's just going to go ahead and just let that drop down, and this entire thing right here is just going to fall. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and jack it up, and then we're going to put some blocks under it. That way it won't just fall down, and I don't know, probably cause some damage if it were to do it enough. Alright, let's go ahead and block it up. Alright, so the way I've got this set up, I've got my 14mm onto my ratchet here, and I've got this big bar on the end, my homemade cheater bar. And really it just allows you to get that extra torque in, be able to get those open. So we'll go ahead and take all of them off. It's a bit tight, so I'm going to go ahead and put the camera down, but we'll see if we can get all these off. Alright, now I should mention, before you do any of this, it's very important to block up the tire that you're working on. So I'll show you how to do that. Alright, so as you can see, there's not many places to jack this up. Ah, I'm being attacked by a dog. Ah! 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 Oh, he's getting... Alright, so as you can see, I've stuck my jack in a little hole under the controller arm right there. Oops, excuse the dog. Or you can go ahead and just jack it up and then place it on some big wooden blocks. And that way there's not going to be any tension on that rod when we go to take it off. Alright, so as you can see, I've placed this on the wooden block, but so the edge is just right next to the edge of the wood. And that's going to be important for later, because we're going to go ahead and use a long deep socket extension for this side, but we don't have one for that side, so if you do, you can set it up in a different way. Go and skip forward, just see what I did, the reason why. And we'll go ahead and undo all the bolts on top now. Alright, one thing to note here before we finish, or before we take it off, see how the rubber seal is coming out of this hole all the way? This is the old one, the way it was the way before. And this is the new one. And see how the seal is still further down? That's because I haven't been able to put my car on the ground yet and it hasn't pushed all the way up. So you see these bolts are still sunken in a little bit. And these ones had come out the tops, only because I've undone them, or they now flush with the top. We're going to need to put the car back on the ground to fully tighten these down so that it pushes that seal all the way up inside the car. Alright, now that we've got that top undone, you can see it's falling down here. We're going to go ahead and need to take these pins out of the bottom. Now, since my car is 31 years old, I would heavily suggest using some WD-40 all around these bolts on the insides, on the outsides, on the threads, just to help it slip. It is torqued down pretty hard, so go ahead and spray some WD-40 and just wait a tiny little bit, and then go ahead and I'll show you what to do next. Alright, well, we've got the WD-40 soaking in. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys what we're going to do to get these off. So we've got two wrenches here. This big one with the big square drive, and then an extender for it. Go take that off. And then we've also got a smaller one. And then we've got two 17mm, one deep socket and then one just regular, because we don't really need anything other than that. This deep socket is going to go on the outside, and we're going to attach it to the extender. Let's go ahead and do that. Oh no. Alright, there we go. Alright. So now we've got this big long one, and we've got this small one. So the small one's going to go on the inside and keep the bolt from spinning, because there's nothing in there to lock it. And then we're going to go ahead and put this on the outside and pull it. And I'm again going to use the cheater bar that I have, because it is a very tight bolt. So let's go ahead and set that up. Alright, here we go. We got all set up. So I've got one wrench on this side, supported by a block. And it's facing away from the direction that I'm pulling on that side. That's important. Keep it nice and stiff. And then I've got mine on this side, the deep socket, because it needs that, with my cheater bar. And now all I need to do is just go ahead and pull like mad. Alright, let's see if we can get this to go. Alright, let's go ahead and got it off, but you can see right here, let's see if it'll focus. There we go. My bar is getting pretty close to that brake caliper right there. So we're going to go ahead and take this off, screw it back in a little bit, and then we're going to take it off and then just use some regular pliers to get it the rest of the way. Alright, there we go. Got that out. Now we can just go ahead and pull it out. Should be enough slack on it to go ahead and just pull it out of its spot. And we'll go ahead and grab the new one. Alright, got my new one out. Came with some new fittings and also came with a set of instructions. They aren't perfect. There's some things in there that they mentioned that I couldn't find on the old one, and move over to the new one. So, you know, whatever. But I also got a new strut bellow to replace that old foam one that's just completely degrading. I got all of this stuff from Rock Auto. That was $20, I think. The strut or the bellow was like $4. So pretty cheap prices. If they want to sponsor me, yeah, go ahead, dude. Other than that, we're just gonna go ahead and take the old one, set the new one up like the old one, and we'll see what happens. One thing I forgot to mention, you have to get this top nut off here. We're gonna take some vice grips, clamp it on the top, and then go ahead and turn that. And that's 14 millimeters as well. All right, here we go. Got my wrench, got my vice grips. Just clamp down on that. We're going to be going to turn this way. Maybe this thing's pretty heavily degraded. Let's see if this will fit. Wrong direction. Alright. Clamp that down again. And as always, if it gets stuck, just some WD-40. Help that guy get off. Alright, you can go ahead and toss this. The new kit came with one of these. Alright, so we're going to see how these washers are facing just for the new ones. So ridges go up. Go ahead and take that off. And ridges go down on this one. So it's like a sandwich. Go and take that off. And then, of course, we've got the old boot and everything, which is completely degrading. I'm just going to go ahead and throw that away, but I'm going to keep the cup. Alright, went ahead and cleaned the cup up a little bit, just wiped it off. I'm going to go ahead, take the bellow and stick it in. It comes with a zip tie. I think that's for quite a different version. So we're going to go ahead and stick that back on. Alright, then we add this guy, and then we take one of our new washers. It came with some new rubber things, but for the life of me, I don't think that this is ever going to work. You can see the size difference. I think they probably planned on a different version. Maybe the 2+2s have a different size, I don't know. So we're not going to use these. Go ahead and take this facing down, that one up, and then new washer, and just facing up. Alright, we've got a new tie nut here. Go ahead, spin that on. Go ahead, grab the rod again with our vice grips. And tighten it down. Alright, nice. Alright, there we go. All nice and shiny new. We're going to go ahead, take this and stick it back up in. Alright, we're going to go ahead and take these holes and line them up the correct direction. Oops. Two towards the back, one on the front. And now the fun part begins. Let's see. We're going to go ahead. We're going to have to fit that back into the little holes. So you get a hammer. I'm going to probably just use, I don't know, one of my heavy wrenches or something. whack it back into place and stick that pin back through just like it was before. There we go. Got the pin in if you guys can see that. And now the other hardest part is on your own trying to get that thing to stay up there while you hold the bolt. You have to kind of hold it with one hand and then stick a bolt on with the other. It's a little bit difficult, but if you try hard enough you can get it. I'm going to go ahead and do that. Alright, so I got mine in up there. I'm going to go ahead and tighten this up, and then we're almost done. We'll let her down, see if we can squish that rubber through its little spot. See if we can get those bolts on all the way like they were originally. Alright, let's do this. Alright, if you read the instructions, it says to tighten the lowering mounting nut to 50 to 58 foot-pounds of torque, and the upper one, the little nut that we put on, 23 to 31 foot-pounds. If you got a torque wrench, you can. I'm just going to do it by feel, just based on what I felt with the old one, because I don't have a torque wrench. I'll see if my dog will stop chewing on that, so I can finish this guy up. Alright, we got that all tightened down. Next thing we need to do is just lower this vehicle and see if we can get those bolts up there nice and tight when it's compressed. Alright.